My husband was abandoned by his mother when he was very young, so I have never met her. He at the time was rocking a feathered back hair look, out of style by 20 years, and he was an angsty teen, so often he would have his arms crossed and dramatically roll his eyes. Maybe 8 years into our relationship, his grandpa found old family videos, and there was my husband's mom with the exact same hair and the exact same crossed arm pose, dramatically rolling her eyes in the exact same way. It stunned me how they both looked exactly like each other and emoted exactly the same. He got a lot of abuse from his family for being like her. It is not justified, but after that video I understand what they saw. Not my kid, but my partner has some gnarly farts. They are seriously so bad smelling and they're always silent. It doesn't matter what he eats, it's always the same rank smell. About a year or so into us dating, we were at his mom's house and she apologized for farting and that it was gonna stink. I was so shocked when a whiff of fart singed my nostrils because my partner literally has the same farts. It was so hard to keep a straight face. I wanted to laugh and be like, literally, what? My partner told me later that his whole mom's side of the family has the same farts, lol. We have a kid now, and I'm so scared I'm going to be gassed out in my own home when he's older. Her walk. She has a very particular gait and stance that from behind is me. Same with gestures. My daughter will do something with her hands and I think, oh wow, I recognize that. And weirdly, her obsessions mirror mine at the time, obsessions I had long forgotten. She went through a werewolf obsession around 9 that I did too at that age. Lots of these. She loves her pet rats, so did I. She will go down strange little rabbit holes that I too did at the same age, but never spoke to her about. I was a weird little kid. And surprisingly, my kid was a weirdo too. She and I are now adults and we laugh about how we are still oddballs. Genetics are wild. My brother's first daughter had a thing when she was a toddler where, when she got tired, she would take the corner of her blanket and stick it in her ear while sucking her thumb. Our mom saw it once and got really excited because our older sister did the exact same thing when she was our niece's age. We also just started calling my daughter Little Pokey. When I was a kid, my parents called me Pokey because I would always take my time walking or doing something. My daughter does the same thing. When I pick her up from school, the teacher has to keep reminding her to keep moving because she just takes her time and stares at random things on the ground. We're both easily distracted. Apparently, a really strong interest in electronics and fixing things. I had to ask my 7-year-old if he had taken my electronics tool kit yesterday. I was trying to troubleshoot the hard drive on an old PS4 and of course, he was super excited to watch and ask a million questions. The PS4 is now fixed and he doesn't know it's his Christmas gift. When I was a kid, I just absolutely had to know how things worked. Around the age of 5, I apparently got a hold of some tools in my dad's slur camera and took it completely apart. I did the same to alarm clocks, a nightlight, and was caught trying to open up my uncle's PC tower case once. So it was actually me, 'cause I'm adopted. My whole life in the weirdest places. I'll just sit cross-legged because it's more comfortable for my short legs than letting them dangle. And comfy school desk with attached chair. Cross-legged. Folding chair or pew at church. Cross-legged. Got teased for it a bit, especially by my family, but I never cared. When I met my birth mom and her family for the first time at 18, I noticed she and her mom do it too. The funniest part is that I married a man who does the exact same thing and he gets it from his mom, who gets it from her mom. So naturally all our kids do it as well. Opposite way round here. I did something, then realized it was genetic. My 10-year-old is super fussy about shoes and socks. It's frustrating as heck. He frequently goes to school in bare feet because he can't manage shoes or socks. We've tried a million different types of seamless socks. Some days it's a 20-minute meltdown before we can leave the house. It's a nightmare, and it always frustrated the shit out of me. Then one day my sock was driving me crazy, and I could just feel my stupid little toe hanging there all useless. I got so mad I took my shoe off and turned my sock inside out and suddenly went, "Ah, he gets it from me." When my son was about 4 years old, I walked into the living room to see him sitting, elbows on knees, identical to the manner in which his father, who had been absent for at least 2 years at that point, always sat. I had never seen a real resemblance between the two of them up to that point, and almost fell to my knees when it hit me. When my son was about 4 years old, I walked into the living room to see him sitting, elbows on knees, identical to the manner in which his father, who had been absent for at least 2 years at that point, always sat. I had never seen a real resemblance between the two of them up to that point, and almost fell to my knees when it hit me. I have a thing where I mix up the first letters of 2-word phrases often. I will say things like autodentry and tut the kernips when I'm talking fast or distracted. Apparently my great-grandmother used to do the same thing. A lot of people say I look like my mother, and I act like my great-grandmother. I have my great-great-grandfather's ear for music, apparently. I seem to share a lot of traits with my more distant relatives. Not sure why. My sister shares more traits with my parents more directly. My cousins all share traits more directly with my aunts and uncles. When I was in elementary school, I always accidentally skipped over the number 13 when I was counting backwards. Counting forwards was fine. 11, 12, 13, 14. But counting backwards would sound like 15, 14, 12, 11. Even to this day, I sort of emphasize number 13 in my head in order to remember it. I was helping my son with his math homework the other day. He couldn't understand why he kept getting the wrong answer for some subtraction problems. We finally figured it out. When he was subtracting, he kept skipping over the number 13 in his head. So it was about 3 minutes 4 months, and when my son started to actually smile, he did something cute and did this little smirk, and my wife immediately exploded into laughter and said, "He did your smirk. It's genetic. I gotta say, it's definitely more charming when he does it." My favorite part is just how cocky it is. I had never seen a baby look arrogant before that moment. Etta, he also does a happy food wiggle the same way my wife does. The first time he did it, I nearly died over how cute it was. Like right down to the little closed-mouthed smile that makes their eyes almost entirely closed. My son will make huge piles of 20-30 books and will want to read all of them with me. I did the same with my parents as a child. Also, his facial expressions, especially how he moves his eyebrows, looks exactly like my Phil. My grandmother once told me she was the president of a club at her school because, well, somebody had to do it. Very eerily, I had recently said the same thing about a project I was involved with at work. A light bulb went off in my head. I was like, whoa, so that's where I get that from mindset from. My youngest can yell from his chest, so loud you can hear him over a roaring bus engine. He gets that from me, according to me husband. He projects like you, hun. Both kids lift their left big toe when they're hyperfocused. As does their dad. They just leave it up there like some ape velociraptor. My oldest is also somehow a spitting image in looks and personality of my brother, before the drugs got him. It's like looking 30 years into the past, and it's bittersweet because he had been such a sweet, caring boy growing up. My baby is just 3 months old. Ever since he was born, he would get this look on his face that would feel so familiar, but I couldn't place it. His eyes reminded me so much of someone. Then one morning he looked at me and it hit me. He has my grandma's eyes, down to the color and everything. My mom's mom. My grandma sadly passed a decade ago, and she'd always say to me as her oldest grandkid, "Will I live to see your children?" She didn't live to see my baby, but now I see her and him. I asked my oldest, 11-12 yo, what he wanted for lunch one day. He answered food, and I busted out laughing because my mom used to get so mad at me for pulling the same thing on her. Then a few days later, I found a wooden watermelon slice from when the kids had a play kitchen when they were younger. I put it in the cabinet where he was unlikely to see it. Next time he pulled the food claim on me, I handed it to him. He looked at it and replied, "Edible food. That's my smartass."